Hey y'all, it's Michael. Hey, I did not upload a video last week. As I mentioned, I was trying to do it every week, but you know what? It was my birthday week. So I felt like I got a pass. I'm basically on my PTO, which is amazing. For the past 3 days, all I've been doing is like bed rotting. This has been a really good week in general, not only because of my birthday, but it was just fun. I'm spending time with my family. I playing video games, reading a lot, and just enjoying all of this. I got a new phone, as you can see that I'm filming on. I'm trying to test it out and whatnot. I'm gonna see how it goes because I think this might be my new camera setup. But we'll see how it goes. I also recently, thanks Dom, I recently got a Apple TV and there's no going back. I love it so much. I love it so much. But y'all don't care about that. Let's talk about some books because y'all, I'm getting some reading done, like some amazing reading. Okay, so the first one is we'll talk about some audiobooks. Now, I finally finished Empire of Pain, The Secret History of the Sackler Family by Patrick Radden Keefe, narrated by the author. Overall, at the end, I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was such a great audiobook. This is essentially a long history about the Sackler family. And going into this story, I really didn't know. I was like, okay, who are these people? The only thing that I knew of was that Keith was known mainly for a journalist, and before this book was one called Say Nothing, and I heard that was really good, which now after reading this I really want to read or listen to that one. The story is essentially about the Sackler family, and we go back to their whole lineage, particularly the brothers, and how they essentially started Purdue Pharma, their contributions not only philanthropy wise but essentially into the opium epidemic involving Oxycontin. Overall, this story was really riveting. Like from the beginning, my main issue is towards the end, but from the beginning, it was like right off the rip, incredibly riveting. We mainly followed Arthur. I feel like he is the spark that ignites this whole thing. So essentially, Arthur Sackler and his brothers, because this book is long, so it covers essentially the whole family, and so that is like there's like almost like a fatigue about it because since we're going through the whole family and it's so much, like it is a lot of info, it's very deep, but I never felt like it was too confusing. It gets really straight to the point. They're like super wealthy, super influential, especially in like philanthropy, because throughout the whole time that throughout their whole lives essentially that's what they've been doing, and this chase of like immorality of your name being connected to like museums or like arts or like just goodwill in general. That was one of the main topics with the story, but it's also asking the question of like at what price, because we actually start off with the court proceedings. This was very similar to like when the tobacco industry was put on trial about knowing the effects of smoking and like the things that they kept from the public. And so this has a similar slant to that story, but the Sackler family, oh my, whoa, okay, hold on. I really did enjoy like how deep the story is, because y'all, it's super deep and it's super detailed. The one thing that I felt, and it's kind of almost like why I personally didn't give it 5 stars. The one thing that I wish this story did more is I kind of wish it had more of a point of view, or like more from a victim's slant. I don't know if I'm saying that it comes across, because while the book really do cover the Sackler family, I kind of wish it did a little bit about more of the victims and how it affects them, especially with different racial communities, even the things with like war on drugs and like how that affects, because we are going through this whole timeline, and I kind of wish that it touches on it, but I felt like it should have done it a little bit more of the people who are affected by the epidemic. Once we get towards the end, I felt like that portion wasn't as, maybe because it's so long, was riveting as the beginning, because the beginning is incredibly riveting, especially finding out about Arthur Sackler. I think like he is truly like he was like such a fascinating person to like listen about because his life was very interesting. Overall, I would recommend it because it was incredibly riveting. I learned a lot. The way that Keith was able to pinpoint everything and like the amount of details, but still keep it like cohesive and coherent. I really enjoyed it, so I would recommend it. So the next book that I decided to pick was Men Who Hate Women: From Incels to Pickup Artists: The Truth About Extreme Misogyny and How It Affects Us All by Laura Bass, narrated by Tanya Ebby. As I was scrolling through Facebook, because I saw somebody made a post, and I was like, that sounds very incel. Like, it sounded very in that vein from someone that I knew, and I was like, I don't know about this. When I came across this audiobook scrolling through Hoopla, I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. So I'm deciding to give it a listen. I've never like been into these type of like forums and whatnot that Bates is talking about. It's very easy to counter these type of people, especially online, but in real life also. So yeah, I'm gonna finish it before I have more thoughts about that. Okay, so the next books, y'all, I finished a lot of books. The next books that I finished were my book club books. Okay, so Dom, if you're watching this, stop, okay? Do not watch this because I'm gonna talk about the books. Because I noticed, this is one thing, I noticed that I should have talked more about the books, like from the last video, like talk about the books and then show the clips of Dom and I, because looking back on that, I should have talked more about the books and then showed the clips of Dom and I, because then it would have made more of a coherent thought. So for this, because we haven't decided, I don't think he's finished. That's why. Also, don't watch this part because he's not finished. I mean, he still has time, y'all. The month hasn't ended yet. So that's what I thought I would do. So I'm gonna talk about the books, and then on the next, hopefully, when we meet, and then by the time I film for the next wrap up, that he'll be finished by then. All right, so for September, I decided that we were gonna do 2 novellas for our book. I also going into October, I haven't decided yet which book we're gonna read for our book club, because one of the books that I suggested, which I thought would be cool because it gave like a horror vibe to it. I think the wait is still long for the audiobooks, so I'm gonna still look around and see what the options are. So I'll let y'all know what book that's going to be when I decide on it. Okay, so I picked 2 novellas. The first one is The Deep by River. Okay, so the first one is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. This book I gave him as an elevator pitch was like, what if the enslaved people coming from Africa were thrown overboard and they became mermaids? And essentially that was it. But then also this is one of those books where that wasn't it. Like, yes, that's essentially the premise of this. But when you look deeper into it and like what the book really is saying, that's not it at all. It's mainly more, to me, when I was reading it, I really got the feeling that this is really about like Black history and Black connections and Black community. And that portion, I was like, oh, this is really great, because the way that the mermaid aspect and like what they do, I thought that was so cool. Like the conceptualization and like the world building and like the way that the concept of the story of that portion is so good. Like thematic wise, I thought it was really great. The beginning of this though, I did check up on Dom, because as I was reading it, I said, oh, I wonder how this is going to translate on audiobook wise, because it language wise, I was like, I don't know how, because here's the thing, that's like also with reading, is that like, how is he interpreting listening to it while I'm reading it? Because to me, I've been a reader for a long time, and so I can interpret different forms of like writing styles. And in the beginning of this, I checked up on him because I was like, "Are you getting it? Like, are you comprehending?" Because it's a little bit confusing in the beginning, but once you get, I told him it is a little confusing because it throws you head in first, but once everything starts to smooth out and you get it, then I was like, okay, yeah, this makes total sense, and especially the story that it's telling. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I gave it 3.5. Both books, actually. I'll talk about that in a minute. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was great. The thing though is, there is part of this, especially once without giving too much away, once outside of the ocean, that it felt a little too, for me, like pacing and writing wise, it felt a little bit too like, it was like pulling, it's like pulling cheese. Like it was just too long and too stretched out. But once it finally get back into it and like get back into the ocean, those were my favorite parts. But overall, I really enjoy this, and thematically, I think it is super strong, story wise. The next one is Ring Shout by P. Deli Clark. For him, I pitched this as like, what if the Ku Klux Klan members were actual monsters and there were people who were like hunting them down? Like that's what they do. Like they hunt down these Ku Klux's monsters. And overall, I thought this was great too. I also gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought this was such like a fun, good story. Like it was action packed. It was super fast paced. And I just really enjoyed like all the actioning of it. I also really enjoyed like the mythos and like the world building out of all of it. I thought that was like really good. The thing though is I think this book should have been longer. I felt it could have been longer. I think more character development and like more of a character arc would have been stronger, because there are parts in here where like I see the parts where it's like trying to tug at your heartstrings, but because it's so short and there's, for me anyways, didn't have that impact. I love all the history and like the world building. I thought that was really good. Next, I didn't post it on here, but check me out on TikTok, I guess sometimes, but I don't know what's that's happening with TikTok, because you know, we don't know what's gonna happen with TikTok. But I did start reading poetry again, and so I decided to pick a poetry, like a random poetry book from my library, because a lot of them are actually available digitally, and so I thought I would start doing that. And so every week from now on, like once I get the ball rolling, I'm gonna try to read one poetry book a week, because I think that's doable, and I love poetry and I kind of miss it. I love the words. So the one that I decided to pick was Every Sound is Not a Wolf by Alberto Rios. I just randomly picked this one, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's thematic wise, I can see what Rios is doing, but also there's a poem in here that I really enjoyed about your mom, and I was like, oh, that was deep. I like that one. But so far I'm enjoying it. I'll have more thoughts because it's so short. I'll have more thoughts once I actually finish it. Okay, let's talk about books. All right, so physical wise, all those books that I did as like a haul on the last video, a lot of it has to be on pause, because now that I'm realizing all the books are starting to pile up. So some of those books are on pause, but I'm gonna keep it going, okay? So one goal is that I need to finish this one, which is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James, soon enough, because I'm about to reach the halfway point, but I need to finish it soon because our book club book for Read So Lit starts in October, and for that, we're going to be reading this, which is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. It is super long. I love this edition. It's so nice. But I'm super excited for it. It's just that I'm gonna be like reading essentially these two books at the same time. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to finish this for sure because I'm really enjoying this. I love the Gilded Age of it all. So this was gonna be super fun. Check out Didi's Bookstagram. I'll leave it down below so you can see like the updates and whatnot. So you can join our live show with me, Didi, and Tati, because we're gonna read this over October and November. So check that out. Now I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why this was chosen because Dickens is not black, but I guess they wanted to read it because I mean it's pretty okay. It's over 850 pages, but that's fine. So I actually never read a Dickens before, so this will be my first one, and I don't think it'll be that bad. But come join us for our read along. So yeah, there's that. All right, the other physical book that I got. Okay, so I got it digitally first, but then I was like, no, I kind of want the physical, so I put my library on hold for it, and it's this one, which is Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. This book is so popular. The wait list on it is long, and so I was like, okay, I need to put myself on that wait list. Also, hold this on this. Go look up the new Libby suspend rule. I like it. So check out my TikTok also, because I talk about that, because apparently I don't think a lot of people know how that system works, because I was like, yeah, long story short, basically they're putting the responsibility is on the reader now. Like Libby's like, you tell us when you're ready to read this. Are you ready or not? Like let us know. And so I started this digitally, but now I'm gonna return that so I can read it physically. And I was like, yeah. Also, I was like, when I was reading this book digitally, I was like, I was like, I'm reading fast. I was like, the font on the physical copy gotta be huge, and y'all, it is. The font is huge. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna fly through this. But y'all, so far, I'm not gonna lie, I'm liking this. I'm really liking this. Dare I say, I think it might be my favorite R.F. Kuang book that I read from her so far. We'll see how that goes once I reach the end. But the one thing that I'm really enjoying about this, that it is so funny. It is very humorous. Like, I was like, oh, this is funny. Like, nobody was saying about that. People were saying like this was dark academia. I was like, no, this is a romance. It's basically about two people, Alice and Peter, who go into the underworld, okay, through eight circles, well, through the circles of hell to go retrieve their professor's soul so they can get a letter of recommendation from him, and so they can, get some good jobs. Y'all, this book is so funny. All the literature references, even the like math references, even the linguistic references. Now, some of them are they're flown over my head. I'm not gonna lie, but some of them I actually got it. I was like, that's funny. But I'm gonna see how I feel about this towards the end. This book is like really a surprise for me because I'm really enjoying it. Like, I have a good time reading it, and I like that. If you've read any of these books, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Until then, I'll see you guys till next time. Bye. Also, let me just say this. Y'all, reading is going great. Reading is going great. At a consistent pace. It's fantastic. Also, I was gonna post like a vlog of like my week, like my birthday week, but y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I just stopped. At one point, I just stopped vlogging because I was like, I'm gonna bed raw. When I got that Apple TV, all I've been doing is like watching TV, and I was like, oh my god, this is the way to watch TV. Because the one thing that I hate with my TV, my smart is it's a smart TV. I hate the UI. I hate. I just hate it. Like it's so slow, and it just sucks. And so that Apple TV just makes it. I was like, oh my god, I love this. So yeah, and the new phone is great too.